All right. Welcome to the Entertainment Jungle. That was terrible. Our first live intro was awful. So, I want to start off by saying it's finally time. We all universally hate Ezra Miller. We all universally like Michael Keaton. And we're going into this movie with incredibly low expectations. So, we're going to talk about The Flash up next on the Entertainment Jungle. All right, so we have two people in the jungle today. As you can see, there's some missing boxes. We do have a full cast of characters. You can't hear me
Correctly.
Is that any better?
Much.
Okay, sorry about that. But we are going to talk about the new Flash. We do have Walter here.
Hello, everybody.
And 66.
Hello there.
And we're going to talk about the new episode of The Flash, which states that Barry Allen is going to use his super speed to change the past, but his attempt to save his family will create a world without superheroes, forcing him to race for his life in order to save the future. So I want to start off by finding out what your overall thoughts are without getting too deep into this about the new Flash movie. My goal is to try to keep us on track here. But let's start with 66. What are your overall thoughts on The Flash?
Well, he went back in time to try to fix everything, and he inevitably erased superheroes that should have been there. It would have been nice if he could have just erased himself from the planet. Yeah.
All right.
I enjoyed it more than I should have, but I found myself hating him a lot in this movie. It was nice to see that they did joke around a little bit about him being someone that could be forgotten and someone that's not as good as the other superheroes. So I thought there was a lot of that humor going on, which I appreciated, but it definitely happened. The movie happened.
The movie did happen, and I do agree with one of the things you said already. But I'm not going to... I enjoyed it more than I wanted to and thought I should. But let's get Walter's opinion. What do you think, Walter? What were your overall thoughts being a Flash fan yourself?
Oh, man, I hate to say it, but I actually enjoyed this movie. The storyline was really good. I thought the acting was great. Grant Gustin playing the Flash was amazing. And when Henry Cavill showed up as Superman to help Supergirl fight Zod and Bizarro Superman played by Nick Cage, that was awesome. So I actually really enjoyed that movie.
Did I miss something?
Is that the movie we all saw?
Oh, crap. What timeline is it again?
Uh-huh.
You guys ain't ready for that one yet. No, but for the one right that we had to watch, it was crap. I did enjoy it more than I thought I would, but it wasn't because of The Flash. I love Michael Keaton as Batman. I liked Supergirl. Everything else other than The Flash, which is horrible.
Yes, Michael Keaton was the redeeming quality of this movie, I would say. We're going to get into it because I wasn't a huge fan of what they did to him in this movie, I guess would be the way to put it. But yes, he is the redeeming quality. But I actually want to start off before we get into all the hate, because I'm pretty sure we're going to get into a ton of hate about this movie, because that's what we do, I would say. I want to go back and say the story itself. Let's say you take everything out of it. The actor that we don't like, the effects that we're going to talk about in a second. this movie was actually written by John Francis Daly, even though he's not credited in the IMDb page. And if you look back at his credits, you'll know why that's important. But he started on Freaks and Geeks. Was this a good time travel movie? Was it a good story, although not represented well? Like, was the script good? Or was this just a train wreck from the beginning, in your opinion?
I actually want to hit this because it's something that I wrote down in the theater, and I literally said, there are no rules here. Just do whatever you want, because it's almost so confusing that you could do almost anything and destroy and fix the timeline no matter what you want to do. Basically, it just got to a point where it was do whatever you want, because there's no reasonable explanation with this time travel thing. At least other time travel movies tried to put their own rules on time travel, even though no one really knows. But this one just did whatever the heck it wanted. So was it a good time travel movie? I thought it was a terrible time travel movie.
All right. Damn it. One thing is already not working.
It's a shame because it should have been good because it's based off of Flashpoint, which is amazing. The cartoon, if you ever watched it, it was great. The comic book, which I thought I had, but apparently I don't. That's a great story. But this was just so like, what are you doing? Why are you able to meet yourself at that timeline? It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, 66 is right. They broke so many rules, but they didn't make any rules. So what was the point of this?
That's I saw it with someone and they said the exact same thing. They said, so I was gonna say I didn't completely hate it, but it was a waste of a movie. That was what I thought of it. I thought it was just a waste because all right, it doesn't connect to the DC universe, I think. I don't know, which we're gonna get into specifics in a second. I don't know if he's gonna continue as this character. Nothing that happened in this story is going to continue on. It was just like fanfare for most of it. So what was the point of all this? I really just don't know, right?
Well, you're right, because even where he ends up at the end isn't the same exact timeline as where he started. There's a different Batman. So what's going on from here? Like, is because Ben Affleck's not there anymore? Is that the point? Like, is that the point of this movie? Is to erase?
The point of this
No. Hear me out, because they're changing the entire cast and crew for DC Universe moving forward. So, was the point of this to get rid of Henry Cavill and get rid of Ben Affleck and get rid of everybody so that they can move on from this? But then, why would you bring George Clooney at the end? Sorry, spoiler alert. But like, why would you bring George Clooney at the end? Like,
can I touch on that?
Yeah, please.
Cornelius talked about it. It's all about fanfare. So it felt like this whole movie was a bunch of one-line jokes that didn't carry on. A whole bunch of fan service, and they just kept throwing it at you. And that's what they were doing at the end. Not even like trying to connect anything. So the George Clooney thing was just because they want people to see that George Clooney came in as Batman, and that was basically it. I don't think there is an actual point.
Opportunity though. Because you're moving into a different direction with what is it James Gunn doing this now? You're moving into a different direction. So you have an opportunity to completely wipe the timeline clean by the Flash going back and messing things up and coming back to a different line of superheroes. So it's like you have a perfect opportunity, and you once again, DC, you did a great job of messing it up.
But that's the whole thing. We don't know if he's going to continue as the Flash. We don't have to get into the personal things on why we hate him personally, but we don't know if he's going to continue. So, like, I don't get it. Like, what is the point? Like, if you're going to keep him as the Flash, you had a perfect opportunity to set up a brand new timeline, just like you said, 66. I don't get it. Like, what was you had the opportunity, and then you just were like, all right, George Clooney it is. So what does that mean for anything? Nothing.
Unless the point was to get him out of the timeline and just say, look, there's an infinite amount of timeline. So here's a new Batman, a new Superman. Like, that's the only thing I can think of at this point. Or maybe they're not thinking that far. I'm giving them too much credit.
Yeah, way too much credit. They're not thinking that far. Come on. It's just like watching Black Adam. What's the point?
That is true. What was the point of Black Adam too?
Oh, right, because Henry Cavill shows up in the end, and you're like, yes!
And then they're like, nah, we good.
want to try one thing. Hey, there it is. We got video now on our
You
TV.
can go anywhere.
Hey,
I was trying to.
Another timeline.
It's our first live show. We'll get there.
Another
that's
universe.
all. I mean, that TV is hung up there very
So what do you
nicely.
want to
You
do?
did it by yourself. Is that's a
Fight to
nice
save this one.
mounting job.
Yeah.
Because this is the world where my mom lives. I'm not gonna lose her again.
Trying to see if some. Hey, look, it's
Time
all
has a
working. All
pattern.
right. So, anyway, let's get back to the movie for a second.
That it can't help reliving
Flashpoint was a good story, and I think this was
different
you know,
people.
But I want to get
different
into some of
worlds.
the weeds on this real fast. I want to get into some of the
Drawn to
nitpicky
each
stuff,
other
which we
like
love to do on this show. My
Magnets.
first question to everybody is: first of all, I want to address one thing to Walter specifically. He runs
My
like
face.
that as a normal person.
So my face.
The scene when he's in the when
That
he
was funny.
loses
If you
his
were to
power,
go into the past, you
I'm like, I
have no
thought of you
idea
immediately.
what
I'm
the
like, oh, that's just
consequences
how
can
it
be.
runs.
Stupid.
Bruce,
I could
It's
fix
the
things.
dumbest thing ever.
You
I'm
could
like,
also
use a
destroy
rudder and then you
everything.
have
This
so
can't be happening.
it is like the worst
I
thing ever.
completely broke the universe.
Flash running like
Sorry.
you know.
We've been
I'm
waiting
always
for you.
and does he always start off running
I
fast?
created a
Like
world
the
with no
Speed Racer
metahumans.
fans?
That's how I
And now
broke it
there's
out.
no one to
It's like,
defend
this
us.
is every single time.
Want some help?
So I thought that was kind of interesting. And then what did you think of his suit that they explained in one sentence, where like his suit transfers all the power or disperses power so it doesn't explode or something? I don't
Yeah.
know.
There were a lot of things in this movie that I
I'm
hated,
Batman.
but to be honest with you, I thought that and I actually was totally cool with the idea that
If I can't undo what I
as
did,
silly as it is, and maybe it's a sign for the
if I
world that
can't
we
get
don't know
back,
about. But at least they're
There might
trying.
not
Like in
be
the
a
comics, they
future.
constantly do these types of references that people aren't saying that they're trying to say things in the comic book. And it's just a comic book. You'd probably be like, oh, cool, they explained this.
We try not
But-
to die.
I was actually cool with that.
I just dismissed it. I don't really care how this is worked out. I just don't understand like, why. The way
Right.
it
Not
looks
Clark.
stupid to me.
My name is Kara.
That's fair.
Or Barry.
The Batman Flash suit was pretty cool.
I was going to ask you about that. Though.
That was very Miles Morales. That was very cool.
Barry, what are you
Just
doing?
like, oh,
Yeah.
we take
Our
this
kids
suit,
are
just
gonna wanna
spray
see
paint
this.
it.
Yeah, that's right. You know, it's like, but then that goes back to what they did to Michael Keaton. They kind of like ruined. It's funny that you say that because we're not going to talk about that specifically out of everything in this movie. I also am coming around on him
Right.
as Batman. You know, I'm cool with him. I'm okay with it. I know there's someone else who is not on our show today. The empty seat up, the empty rock throne right there that might disagree with us, but that wasn't the worst part of this movie for me. In fact,
That's the Robert Pattinson effect. You know, you see that he's the next Batman. You're like, well, we had Ben Affleck, so that's why you could say that.
all right. I mean, fair point, I guess, but I don't know. I think that's fair. I liked all of his gadgets, like when he threw the ball and all the spikes came out. I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. We can get what about all of the bat gadgets? Like, was that overplayed? He had a bat kite and he had a batarang again. Like, I'm like, all right, it's kind of funny, I guess, but
You can roll with it. It didn't take away from a movie that was crap anyway, so
that's fine. I got your fanfare kind of situation going on here. I'm trying to think about. Oh, all right. So let's just start with the beginning.
let's not start with the beginning, because the first thing I wrote down was hate the opening, hate his face, hate the jokes about the candy bars and how he threw it at his face, hate
All
how he
right.
sets up to run. The only thing I liked about the opening was how Alfred joked and said that he called every other Justice League member except for him.
Yeah.
I felt like that was a theme of this movie where he's the butt of every joke, not even like to the audience, but like, yeah, even to the Justice League. And I think it fits in with everything. Like, you know, my first note before all of that was, so they're just throwing babies everywhere. They just got babies going in microwaves. They got the whole thing happening. It's like, all right, that's where you're starting with this. And then on
Tell me
top of that, I heard the director
You can go
say
anywhere.
he wanted a scene
Another timeline.
that proved that he wasn't only fast, but he was smart.
Another universe.
And I was like,
That was
So what do you want to say?
okay, that
Fight to
sure.
save this one.
That I guess that I'm like,
Because this is the world where my mom
a
lives.
little weird if you ask me, but
I'm
Look,
not gonna
if you
lose
can't
there
move
again.
a person that fast, right? But you have it's like, and he brought that back up. Like
Time has a pattern.
to teach the new Flash. Like if you can't
That
move a
it can't
baby
help
that fast or a
reliving.
person without hurting them
Different
or making
people.
them throw up,
Different worlds.
then you shouldn't be able to put someone in a
Drawn to
microwave
each
or
other
in a
like
vessel and move
magnets.
the vessel that fast, because you're just splattering them around inside that vessel. It makes zero sense. So like, it's cool that they tried,
My face.
but it was really
So my
really
face.
I'm
you
sorry
were
to
to
say
go in
that.
the
Like,
past,
I hate to say that it's stupid because
You
I'm
have
sure
no
a lot of
idea what the consequences can be. Bruce, I could
I
fix
just-
things. You could also destroy everything.
This can't be happening. I completely broke the universe.
Zod.
We've been waiting for you.
I created a world with no metahumans. And now there's no one to defend us.
well,
Want
where
some
did,
help?
if you don't want to start with the
No, you can. Go ahead.
opening,
Mike-
where
Let's go with burritos and Snickers bars. I'm okay with that.
I'm trying to think. So he figured
Yeah.
out the time travel thing.
which
I'm
was
Batman.
stupid. Did anyone else think the way they ended time travel in the middle of the events?
If I can't undo what I did, if I can't get back, there might not be a future.
It was super interesting. I mean, it almost reminded me of like, galaxies colliding or something. At the end, where they
We
were
try
like,
not
"Oh
to
yeah,
die.
these two timelines collide," blah blah blah. they explode. I got what they were going for, but I just think it was like how far or fast does this
Clark.
person have to run to
My
get to
name
the
is
center of
Kara.
that little sphere?
I'm
I don't-
Warberry.
Is it? I mean, I don't really understand. But then again, this is a comic.
Barry,
Maybe
what
I'm
are you
thinking about
doing?
it too much.
Our kids are going to want to see this.
But like that he could see everything, and there was multiple of every single thing. So it's like I don't get why there have to be multiple of every single thing to happen in one line, right?
I've seen movies represent time travel in all different ways.
Mm-hmm.
This one was weird. I get, like, I think the TV show did it better, right? Didn't the TV
Oh.
show? I think the TV show did it way better. But I don't know. I thought it was weird, but it goes along with something that I want to touch on before we keep nitpicking, which was, what did you think of the effects in this movie? And were they good? Were they bad? Were they traditional DC effects? Which I think the answer is yes. And I want to know what you think before I show you something about my question.
I'll let
Additional
Walter
DC
take this.
effects. Yeah, traditional DC effects. It's bad. It's like how can you not grasp the CG yet? Like, come on, like everybody else is doing it. Why are you doing such a bad job?
I mean, I'll say that that was not even close to the thing that I hated most about this movie. And typically it is like,
Yeah.
typically, like if I'm looking at a movie that I know is just for visual effects, like I'm looking like a Godzilla vs. Kong or something like that, I know is a stupid movie that's just for visual effects, then I focus on that and I get disappointed. But this is DC. It's a comic book movie. I let a lot of those visual effects go because it's like a lot of suspended belief, and not that Godzilla and Kong is a suspended belief, but I let a lot of that go. And I want a good comic book movie because we all grew up, like I think the three of us grew up reading comic books. Like we love those cartoons from the 90s. We love those comic books. Like the thing that made that Spider-Man, the latest Spider-Man multiverse movie so good was like, I loved all the different Spider-Mans that they brought in from the comics. Like 2099 was my jam, you know? So it was, I didn't care if it was bad CG or anything, which it wasn't. It was really cool. So this, to answer your question, this didn't bother me as much as it bothered Walter, but I see where you're coming from.
I want to show you something that I don't have on this is just for us on Zoom here, but this was released the day of the movie. Okay. And it says pretty much, it just says the Flash's VFX look weird on purpose. And I thought to myself, all that means, in my opinion, all that means is that you are already making excuses for something you know people are going to complain about. Right?
Well,
That's pathetic.
Can you finish? Are you able to finish that quote? Do you know what it says?
No, that's basically like I didn't keep
Fair enough.
going. I thought that was good enough.
No, I get it. I mean, yes, if you have to say that, if you have to, like you said, if you have to say that, that means that you're anticipating negative feedback from the viewers. So you have to justify it before it gets out there.
Oh, that's good. That's not working, but all right, I'll fix it. Yes,
You know?
that's what I thought. I thought when I saw that, I'm like, oh, you're already making excuses. Great. That's awesome. Thanks for, trusting your movie. I want to do a quick thing I want to say something that was dumb, but I liked it. Okay. And it's because it was an industry inside joke. So, well, obviously we're going to spoil. So at the end of the movie, when he's going through, when all the worlds are colliding, as in the poster says, he goes through and he sees all the Batmans and all the Supermans. He sees like George Reeves Superman, Christopher Reeves Superman, and he sees Nicolas Cage as Superman fighting a giant spider. So I want to say, because this is the most inside joke of all time, that Kevin Smith, who you all know from Clerks and all that stuff, okay? He wrote a Superman movie, and he wrote it for Nicolas Cage to star in, and he talked to the producer of Batman, and the producer of the original Batman told him that he wanted Superman to fight a giant spider at the end. And Kevin Smith had this whole thing called An Evening with Kevin Smith, where he explained this movie in way better detail than me. And it was it was like the best story I've ever heard. It was so hilarious. And this was a pure fan favorite deep cut that they put in this movie. Not for the movie, but for people like me to go, I got it.
Yeah, but I knew that, and I actually hated it even more because I was like, "You're just fucking you're still just throwing fan service at us. Stop it!" Like I didn't want it. And how are you going to do that and not bring Henry Cavill? Or you had a chance to show Smallville. I forgot his name.
Yeah, and I read they were gonna do Grant Gustin. They were gonna have like a cat. I'm like, you could have, like, the whole point of this scene was to do cameos, and you didn't do any you didn't do enough, in my opinion. I was like, if you're like in for a penny, in for a pound, just everyone that ever played these characters, go for it.
Yep.
That's what I mean, that's kind of where I was coming from.
or if they were really smart and they were going to do what 66 was saying and erase the timeline, have the future actors in one timeline already in the suits if they were planning that far ahead, and it's just like a real quick spin and you're like, wait, who is that and why is that guy Superman? And finding out that they actually were preparing and letting you know that's what's going to be.
Yeah, that would have been probably, that would have been pretty cool, I think, actually.
I don't know who makes these movies or who
Tell me something.
green lights them, or if
can go
they
anywhere.
have like a crew that gets together and be like, okay, let's watch this and
Another
let's
timeline.
critique it and let's talk about what we could do better or what's
Another universe.
But like the fact that we're just sitting here
So why do
talking
you want
about
to
this
stay?
and coming up
fight
with
to
some
save this
ideas to make it better just shows like, did they actually think?
Because this is the world
Like,
where my mom lives.
Because you could set up the future. Like
I'm not gonna
we're
lose her.
everybody wants it. Like, and you're trying to be Marvel because let's not pretend like you're not. You
Time
forced
has a
and
pattern.
rushed the Justice League, right? Like you rushed
That
that
it
stuff
can't
in
help
3
relive it.
years, where it took Marvel like 8. Like,
Different people, different worlds.
right.
you're doing such a terrible job.
Drawn to
So
each other like
okay, let's try to actually
magnets.
plan this out now. We have a new director of the whole DC universe, and he's going to go. Let's try to make this happen.
My face.
And you do this.
So
and
my
it just
face.
bugs the crap out of me because, like you just said, you could
you
have had
were to go
3 or
into the
4
past,
opportunities in this movie to place it
You have
in
no
the
idea
franchise.
what the
And
consequences
do I
can be.
hate Ezra Miller?
Bruce,
Yeah, I
I could
think
fix
that
things.
he
We
had
could
5
also
or 6
destroy
chances already.
everything.
Do I love the fact that
happen here.
even in the movie,
I completely broke the universe.
Zod.
We've been waiting for you.
I created a world with no metahumans. And now there's no one to defend us.
Want some help?
this is a lot of Star Wars fans have an issue with this because they think this happens like with a lot of Star Wars movies or maybe Star Wars TV shows where it's
Yeah.
like just let someone else read your script before you
I'm
put it out there.
Batman.
And this is like 10 times worse.
I mean, you're not wrong.
If
I
I
don't
can't
even know
undo
how
what I
else to say
did.
that. This Flash movie is probably like the
If I
8th
can't get
draft.
back,
I
there
don't
might
think
not
the
be
script
a future.
is the problem. Like, I think it was the execution of everything that was good.
What's the play? Batman,
But can I ask you
We
guys?
try not to
do you
die.
think? Okay, not like forget about everything. Like all, if you can, a multiverse,
It's
a
not
universe
Clark.
where Ezra Miller
name
didn't
is
do all this
Kara.
stupid shit.
I'm Well, we're Barry.
Do you think he's actually that of a Flash actor? Besides the running, which I don't even think is his fault. I think it's a directive choice.
Wait. I have an answer. I have an answer for this one. And the answer is his younger persona was so annoying the entire time that I could not get over that. And I was like, yep, like I get you the point of this, but you can be nerdy and not annoying. So my answer to you is I think it was a bad choice to put him in there.
I hate the persona that they presented for the Flash. Make him a weak little weenie who is supposed to be really smart, but they didn't really do a great job of portraying that. Because why wasn't he smart when he was younger? Because he was supposed to still be smart. He seemed like super dumb.
Yeah,
It seems like this should have been his coming of age story. This should have been the first movie where he went back and saw a younger, stupid self of him. Like and
Tell me something. You can go anywhere. Another timeline.
I thought the same thing. This guy's super annoying, super dorky, and I don't even know why they picked this human to be the Flash. But in this movie, I thought that if I'm putting Ezra Miller aside, I thought that him as an actor, I thought he was great as the older Flash. And I think that if this was like his origin story or his first movie in the DC universe, I think that it would have been a much better jumping off point.
All right.
because
I mean,
because his older self wasn't that bad. It was more his younger self that's super annoying. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
his younger self was like, I got the whole point of it. I was like, I get it. It's annoying. Like, you know, even when they were like in his apartment and everything, and they were talking about like Back to the Future, I was like, I get it. I know the history of Back to the Future. It wasn't supposed to be Michael J. Fox. Yeah, I get it. Like, I think, you know what I mean? I'm like those things are funny, but you don't have to hound on him. Like, I get it. Like, he's in a different timeline. We get it. It's fine. I don't know. I did want to bring up something, and I want to know if you thought so. This was the 14th film in the DC Extended Universe. Do you remember that many movies in the DC? All right, me neither. I was like, "There's no way."
I could
There's
name
no way.
5.
When I saw that, I'm like, 14. That's impossible. There's no way.
Where?
there's
What's the
14.
first one? Because like, are they counting? They're not count. Like what? Where are they starting?
Dark Knight.
Because they can't start
No.
with it. They can't start
So
with
they're
like
starting after.
Batman Begins. It has to be after Dark Knight
It's
Rises.
got to
right?
be after that. I don't even. I mean, I guess I could
So
look it up. but-
Superman, right? They would have to be
Yeah.
starting with Superman.
Man of Steel.
Man
Yeah.
of Steel, yeah.
That was the first thing I wanted to talk about. But the second thing I wanted to talk about was I read a rumor that people like Bradley Cooper, Chris Pine, Matthew Fox were all linked to the role of Barry Allen before Ezra Miller. And my question to you is, now this could have been a long time ago because I don't think Bradley Cooper could have pulled it off now. But
Even Chris Pine.
yeah, even Chris
Yeah.
Pine. But like,
Sorry, I love Chris Pine as an actor, but I don't think so.
You don't think he
I-
would have been better than Ezra Miller?
He's better at Ezra Miller at everything, but I just think he's a little too old and probably
Oh.
not quirky and dorky enough. Like
He
Tom
doesn't have
Holland
to
would
be.
have. I would
he didn't
rather
have
have
to be
had Tom
quirky, though.
Holland.
They
we
made
went
him
through
too
this
quirky.
before. Yeah, we went through this before of who would be a better Flash. We don't have to. I mean, we can skip that for today. What about? I'm kind of going all over the place. Like we went to George Clooney right away, which I don't know the point of that or why it was there. But what about the
Tamora
post credit scene?
Oh,
So the post credit scene, he finds Aquaman, and he has to tell him he's Aquaman. I guess was the way I interpreted it.
I
like-
just thought it was a waste of time too, just like the movie.
it was kind of a waste of time.
So I'm like, well, I didn't understand it. Probably because I didn't understand most of the stuff in this movie.
Once again, like Walter, you said, a waste of time, and it's not because like it couldn't have been meaningful and it could have set up really amazing things in the future, but you know that this isn't going to matter once James Gunn takes over. So like, what's the point? Why are
Well,
you
the
even
only
doing
thing
a
I
post-credit scene?
The only thing I can think of is that this movie was finished way before James Gunn took over. Like it was probably it was probably in post production for a very long time. So they were like, screw it, just put it out there. That's the only thing I can think of, right?
No idea.
You're probably right. I mean, they probably fought so hard to get this movie released, and because everybody was going to love Michael Keaton, that they wanted to get it released. So they did, and they didn't think about the future and how consequential it could be and how impactful it could be for the future of the DC universe.
Before I turn it over to you, I know the answer to this, but I think I shared this privately in our group chat. But did this happen? Did the Flash film was so good that Ezra Miller you forget about all of his crimes? Because I think that's the dumbest thing I've ever read in the past.
I think I've hated
Couple
him even
months.
more now because of the crimes. That's how bad this movie was.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty dumb. What else was all right? was there anything you liked about this movie? Besides Michael Keaton. Sorry, besides Michael Keaton.
Supergirl. I thought she did decent.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
I
think
would-
she looked like Supergirl, like the comic version, but I thought she did a good job.
Yeah. But you're just thinking about the blonde hair, blue eyed Supergirl.
Correct.
So,
Yes.
you know, I'm okay with this version. I had no
It's a
issues with
shame that, like, once again, you introduce a new character that now is not going to be in the future of any films. It's like that could have been amazing.
Yeah, I know. So what and they so that's what'll lead me into my next thing, which was they brought her in, right? Just what is your thought on bringing in characters just to kill them? So that was my last. They bring her in. We like her. We'll learn to like her, whatever. And they just steal this from the time machine. By the way, this is a story that's been around for I don't know hundreds of years. Where this is a fixed point. She's always gonna die, no matter what. He's always gonna die. So you bring back Michael Keaton just to kill him. Well, that's why. And then you have her, and you just keep killing her. Like, why? Why are we doing this?
I was cool with hear me out on this one. Everybody knows that no one felt for it as much as you feel for like a Michael Keaton death. But like again, you could have had a difference. About that point thing, I think that's really cool. Where it's like, yeah, it's always going to happen. You're always going to die. I'm cool with that.
I mean,
like-
that's like I said, that's just a.
But are you
That's
gonna?
a pretty.
You're never going to
that's a
care
pretty
about a character that you were
standard, yeah.
just introduced to like an hour ago.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'd rather her survive than the Flash. So, you know, and the Flash is my favorite superhero. So, yeah.
I enjoyed.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, you asked if we enjoyed anything else about this movie. I thought it was cool to see when he opened the bag and it was the Joker laugh from the original Batman movie. Jack Nicholson's Joker. That was awesome.
That was fun.
I know it's fan service, but I appreciated that. So I was just like one of those little things that didn't actually matter in the movie, but it was thrown in there as like a, hey, look, I liked it. So I was cool with that.
But that's the way we want we want fan service. Like you get it, it's 1 second, and then you move on. You don't have to keep going over and over and over it. So, you know, I agree. That was probably one of the better ones.
I also really enjoyed I thought it wasn't good. It wasn't long enough, but to see Tamora Morrison, who was Boba Fett and Jango Fett as Aquaman's dad.
I also thought that was kind of funny, and he has a different wife, like when they're trying to figure it all out. I'm like, hey, come on.
Oh yeah, isn't she a princess of the sea or something?
No. So, like, that's why I mean by my opening statement of I didn't hate it as much as I thought, but it was a complete waste of a movie. So that's kind of where I'm at right now with most of it. But so what do you have? What did we forget to talk about? What didn't you like, or what do you want to bring up that we kind of missed right now?
How every joke was forced. So like when he phases, the young one phases, he goes naked. But like the very next scene, he phases again, but he doesn't go naked. So like, you're just showing me like, oh, you just did that for the cheap laugh. But apparently he knows how to phase his clothes all of a sudden. So okay.
Oh yeah, that's true. Was that when he slipped out of the robe or something?
Yeah, it was like so stupid. It was there for a cheap laugh, and then
and then that was it.
Yep. Sorry,
there was
I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, there was a bunch of that. Go ahead.
the whole movie was based around bringing his mom back. And then the end scene, right? He's in the grocery store and he's like, okay, fine. I got to let my mom die. And he puts the freaking tomatoes back on the shelf or whatever, but they have that scene that was supposed to be super emotional and super heart-wrenching and like really tug at your string. And it just did not hit. It was a terrible moment. Like, what person is going to completely hug a stranger that looks like they're homeless and that's so creepy and weird. No one would do that. Well, I wouldn't say no one, but there's very few people in this world that would be that emotional and like while their kids in the car. No, it's not happening. Didn't show you, but I actually got this. I got something. Ryan Lyon didn't have to tell me. Sorry, Ryan. I got this. He moved the tomato. Once he put the tomatoes back, he was like, oh, he looked up at the camera. He's like, wait, there's a camera there. I thought, oh, he's going to do something with the camera. But no, he actually moved all of the tomatoes to the top shelf. So when his dad went in later to get the tomatoes, he would look up to grab the tomatoes so his face would be visible. Because like in the previous scenes in the early movie, he couldn't see his face because he was looking down to get the tomatoes.
So, I mean, I get that. So, but basically you're saying he didn't learn his lesson. He had to let his mom die, but then he wanted to save the dad too. So he still messed with time again. That's, yeah.
Like he's like, oh, we figured it all out. I saved my dad and no other consequences. And I was like, oh, wait, you're not Batman.
Great. Got it.
But once again, that was the opportunity to bring in like, you could have, instead of George Clooney, you could have brought in Robert Pattinson. I don't like Robert Pattinson as Batman. Well, as Bruce Wayne. But you could have.
I'm pretty sure that Batman's not in the universe. That's the whole issue with this. Yeah, I don't think he's part of like the DCU. I think that's a standalone film, which is another problem with DC, is they don't know what they are.
Isn't that what James Gunn is doing? Is bringing in Robert Pattinson and then some other new people to make a new DCU?
I don't know if Robert Pattinson's part of that. You might be right, but I don't know if he's part of that. I'm not sure. Because they have the Joker movie. The Joker movie is like a standalone. I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
There was just opportunities. Like, even if it wasn't Robert Pattinson, like you said, Walter, bring in the next Batman and say, wow, now we're back. But then again, is Ezra Miller going to continue to play this role? So maybe they were just putting him in a timeline that mattered very little so they can get rid of him. I don't know. So just...
They don't know either, so don't worry.
I'm trying to figure...
It's okay. That's very true. But it started off knowing everything that we talked about and everything about the DCU. The whole movie started off making me angry because you see Batman, which I'm adapting to Ben Affleck, and then you see Wonder Woman, who I think she's great. Gal's amazing. She was a great Wonder Woman. But now I'm like, well, that was another waste of a scene. What the hell is the point of that, right? Because I know she's not coming back as Wonder Woman. Frankly, I don't know when you'll see a Wonder Woman again, to be honest with you, because his list of movies that are coming out like aren't even, except for his Superman movie, they're not even like the major characters. Like he said, he's gonna start the DCU with Blue Beetle.
And he's doing all right because you have
Blue
no
Beetle
expectations. He's setting the bar low there.
Sure.
Should have done Titans.
So, all right. I think we're gonna have to rate this one.
Do we have to?
Oh my god, I'm not gonna lie. I always think of my ratings beforehand. I haven't even considered or thought of a rating.
Really?
I haven't, because like I was just so focused on the review of this movie that I didn't even think about like ranking it.
Since I'm slacking with our live show, I usually have this up on the screen, but IMDb on average right now gave it a 7.3. I looked like 2 days ago 7.4, but that doesn't mean shit. The critics gave it a 66%. I mean, all right, fine. The audience through Rotten Tomatoes gave it an 85%. I don't know where these people are coming from. Like, this wasn't terrible, but I don't know where these people are coming from. So
They probably liked the Ben Franklin, the Batman Ben Franklin moment.
wait, when
he puts the bat kite up there and then electricity comes
that
down.
one, yeah, the bat kite. He had everything bat. It was great. So we'll start with Walter then. And what is your rating? You'll see our banana rating right there. What is your rating out of 10?
I would wait for this movie to come on HBO Max. It's not worth it. It's just a train wreck when it comes to basically everything. And there's only a couple good parts to it. I'd give it a 4 out of 10. And that's just being generous. But just don't. That's it. Don't.
You didn't steal my rating, but if 66 wants to think about it, I'm going to go. I'm a little bit higher because, like I said, although it was a waste, I didn't hate it. There are some enjoyable parts, but I can't give the Walter, I'm not going to think about this because I'm probably going to think about this movie, but I'm at a 5.5, and that's basically because of Michael Keaton and Supergirl and Batman, and there was some cool action here and there. And that stupid Nicolas Cage thing made me laugh. So, like, there were moments that were good. But like I said, if you care about the DCU, this was a complete waste of time. So, no need to go see it. But, you might enjoy parts of it, I guess. So, I'm a little higher than Walter, which actually, Walter's way higher than I thought he was going to be anyway. So, going into this. So 66, the floor is yours. What do you got for us?
I just really think, listen, there's so many issues with the movie. I don't think the acting is the issue. But like everybody has said, it's there's no point. There's no future with these characters in this movie. So what's the point of seeing it? I would not have seen it unless we had to do this show. I absolutely would never have gone to support Ezra Miller. I think that he's had his chances, and I'm done watching him on screen. But I think this is one of the better roles I've seen him in, to be honest with you. And like, it's not that terrible of a movie. There's just a lot of really silly things and things that I would have done way differently. It's good, not great. It's not terrible. It's not terrible. I don't want my bias to sneak in with Ezra Miller and the fact that DC can't plan. Like, so if I'm rating this movie as a standalone, I'm going to go with a 6. If I want to take all my bias involved, I'd probably go with like a 2. But just like, as this movie stands alone without Ezra as a person and without the DC consequences, it's not that bad.
That's why I started off by saying, if he wasn't in the movie, if the effects were like better, like, would this have been okay story wise and would have been better? But
there's still the whole thing, like the plot with the time travel is still so confusing and stupid that it made no sense. Like, you could have done anything with this time travel movie.
They mixed in like 5 different theories, like the H.G. Wells time machine, like Back to the Future, like all these, like the butterfly effect. They mixed. I think they were like, well, let's just do all of them, because that's what happened. Batman, or he's like, don't go back in time and touch anything, and then he does, and that's like the butterfly effect. And then he's like, don't go see your younger self. Well, that's like Back to the Future. And it's like, well, you can't save them, they're always gonna die. Well, that's H.G. Wells time machine. I'm like, all right, well, that's all of them. Well, I don't think there's any time travel left, so I guess you covered them all.
Yeah, and you literally could have done anything with this movie because of that, and you chose to do this.
That is true. So those are our final thought. I mean, I guess we're I don't have a way to end it now, but I do want to do two things just to see if it works, since one of my programs already crashed on me. But we're still streaming live, so it's a plus. Things are kind of working. I want to talk about two things with entertainment news. So let's see if this works. Hey, our intro's working. You guys can still see everything in Rendezvous, right?
Yep.
We can see it, just not hear it.
Okay. So I want to touch on one thing, which is they released a new teaser trailer for Squid Game season 2. And I wanted to briefly ask you as a group here, where is it going to go? Is it going to be the same thing? Like, do you have any, like, does anyone have any idea of where they think this is going to go? That's my question to you. Is it going to be another game for money?
It has to be. Like, I don't know where else would you go, and that was the allure of it too, right? So I don't know where they're gonna go with this one.
And then they made like a real life version of Squid Game. I'm assuming no one dies. I didn't see it. I think it's coming out soon on Netflix.
Oh, jeez.
But I was just kind of curious where they're gonna go with season 2, because where can you go, I guess, would be the question.
I mean, he's trying to take down the whole group, but like, how do you do that when they know who you are, and you don't know who they are?
I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer for this. That's why I brought it up.
It will still be better than the Flash, so we good.
All right.
Ooh.
Fair enough.
There you
Shots
go.
fired.
Wait, 66. Did you watch Squid Game?
No, I did not. But
Okay.
fun fact, I absolutely thought that it was real life when it first came out. No,
All
people were like, "Oh, you got to
Yeah.
watch this TV show. It's based on this thing and this place and whatever." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, is that real? There's really people dying in this game. They're volunteering. Holy cannoli!" And then I
Yeah.
found that it was it was just like a TV show and I never tuned in.
All right. I think we all watched this one though. So they also released a trailer for Bird Box in Barcelona. So there's a Bird Box 2 coming. Did we all? I guess raise your hand if you did we all see this? Bird Box 1.
I actually
then
did
I guess
not.
it
It's been on my list with my wife, but we just have never sat down and decided to watch it together. I can't watch every time I want to watch it. She's not there.
So, all right, then this is pointless news, because I was going to ask you where do they go from here with that movie, but I'm not going to spoil anything, so it doesn't matter. So it's okay. All right, so that's the kind of the two news things that I wanted to try out today. I am not going to continue with the question of the week unless you want to talk about your favorite DC movie.
No, I think this, honestly, I know that we had a lot of issues to start, but
we did.
First time.
I tried my best to go live. We are live. If you went on, I'll give you guys the link, and we can publish it if you want. I'm okay with that as our first live test. So I told Walter that I would only make him see this movie if this was going to get published somewhere. So I promise I will put it out there.
Well,
So
it's definitely happened. I can't say that it was better than the Flash movie.
I guess
However-
it was worth watching that train wreck.
I mean, all right. I have some things to work out on my end, but we do have a live cartoon movie review show at this point. We just have to work out some of the kinks. And I think I'm gonna leave it at that for today, and then I will come up with I still have to come up with a way to end it, and for people to subscribe if they want to hear us babble on even more about these things. So.
Full disclosure for anybody that is definitely not listening, because I'm sure we have 0 people.
Oh.
I will not be on next week's episode. I have a small little trip planned, and it's the day of our show is my 8-year wedding anniversary. So
Nice.
we will not. Thank you. So we will not be. I won't be here. Probably won't see the movie, whatever it is, and I definitely won't be on the show, even if I do.
All good. Mazel tov. But we're gonna try to keep this going live so that way we can, start to build something from it. So we'll see.
But the week after, I'll be back.
Good, because that might be Indiana Jones. I don't know. So that could
Does
be.
that mean I have to watch the other ones?
What? No, you definitely. Wait,
I've
how
only
many
seen the
haven't
first
you
one.
seen?
I've only seen the first one.
Wow.
Raiders. Only Raiders.
The first 3 are good. The Shia LaBeouf one is not that good.
That never happened.
I guess
yeah,
I have to watch all of them now. I have a mission
Well,
if I choose to accept it.
I think it's worth watching them, and then this one actually looks pretty good in my opinion. I don't know, people might disagree, but it could be Indiana Jones time. So
I'm actually very excited for the new TMNT movie, the Ninja Turtles movie. Looks awesome.
Seth Rogen, right? He wrote it or produced it.
yeah, he's involved somehow.
Yeah, and I'm okay with the new Mission Impossible. I actually, it would be. I've seen all of them at least once, but it would be a good time for me to go back and relive all of them because you kind of forget.
So that's the exact thing I thought, was that I've seen all of them, but they always reference like the older movies, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
For sure, something that I think we need to go back and watch the old ones for.
Yeah, because I'm like, they're like, and then because there's a big crescendo of music. It's just like, dun dun dun, and I'm like, oh, who's that guy?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, he's from Mission Impossible 4. I'm like, oh, I don't remember that at all. All right, so stay on Zoom, but for now, I do have an ending that you won't be able to hear, but you'll be able to see, and then we'll catch you next week.
Quack you next time.
Like